So I will first introduce the one who is here, which is Robert Laidlow. And he submitted a piece. First, he's working on his PhD at the Royal Northern College of Music, and submitted a piece last year too, I seem to remember. And this is the one that was shortlisted. It's called Warp, and it's a short piano concerto, but really very broad in its scope, taking on musically the ideas from general relativity, no less, and in 12 minutes, which is quite impressive. And as I hope he'll discuss with the group, it was conceived in collaboration with scientists, mathematicians, and kind of filling out, I think, more personally what many of us composers do in terms of taking conceptual ideas or very concrete ideas and putting them into the most abstract form of music, in that you can't see it, you can't touch it, and yet it does move you quite physically. And I think that's something I can say about this piece that he submitted. In that it is a piano concerto. The piano is sort of traveling through the orchestra, and throughout the piece you feel a sort of contraction and expansion of time. And also in perhaps a quasi-mathematical way, the materials of the piece are exceedingly simple, seeming like just scales and very simple rhythms, but they get warped through the process of the piece in quite a relentless, sort of pitiless way, and kind of a natural process, which I found really intriguing to listen to. So with that introduction, if you want to say more about the piece, thank you.
Thank you. That's a lovely introduction. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I wrote this piece, Warp, for my PhD at the Royal Northern College, which I have an industry partner, which is the orchestra on this recording, the BBC Philharmonic. And this piece was performed in November last year, which is about the first time that I'd seen any of the orchestra members for a long time. Actually, we weren't even sure if this concert could happen. And in fact, we couldn't even have much of an audience. It was a radio broadcast, and we just had a kind of invited friends guest list of about 15 people. So it was a really nice occasion. I won't speak too much, but I'll just elaborate a little bit. You've said most of the things I wanted to say, actually, so thank you very much for that. I just want to talk a little bit about abstraction and systems, and I think we've seen a lot of technology and sort of systematic things already, which have been amazing. And this piece is very abstract in a way. It is simple materials that are warped and stretched and crushed, which you will hear. So we're going to hear the last kind of half of the piece. So by this point, the orchestra, the fabric of the orchestra is already sort of torn into two different directions, a stretching and a crushing. And we have this piano in the middle playing something that's quite individualistic and quite different. And as the piece goes on, the piano sort of loses almost its sort of jazzy or personal qualities and becomes more and more geometric in a way. And you'll hear by the end of the piece, the orchestra also gets extreme in different ways, and they kind of come back together. And really, I was thinking about the kind of world that we live in, which is comprised of all these sort of hidden systems, and how these systems interact in ways that we don't even know, and they affect parameters in our lives. And I was trying to sort of channel that in some way as well, which is quite a sort of abstract mathematical idea, but is also quite important to me. So yeah, this is the last 5.5 minutes of this piece. And I'd just like to say as well that the pianist, Joe Havlat, is over there. He was happily in London, so it's very nice that he could come along and hear himself play again, which I'm sure all musicians love hearing themselves play. So yeah.